Yeah, but I don't have a deep
Okay.
voice. But I think I have pretty much all the other characteristics, but not the deep voice. Yes.
Okay, but you do have most of the others. Yeah, and I
Yes.
think probably again it's there's overlap. Some people have this, some people have that, but it's generally these things are cited as male characteristics. If we look at the more social side of things,
Right.
I think men are thought to well, we know we have more strength, but also more courage. Now, I'm not so sure about that. I guess it goes back to our early human days, our caveman days, where it was our role to go out and bring back the bacon, to kill the beast,
Mm,
where I guess you had to be pretty tough, pretty courageous to go and do that with a spear or something like that. So
mm.
that became part of, I suppose the gender roles were formed very early on
Yeah.
with early humans, that the partner, the wife, and the kids, she would stay back in the cave, cleaning the cave, doing the ironing or the equivalent in those days. But that would be her role, to be the homemaker, to look after the home and the kids. The man would be out, you know, often in a dangerous situation to bring back the food, etc. A bit
Right.
like we might see a bird bringing food back to a nest for its little ones. Same kind of process. And those early gender roles really have come right through thousands and thousands of years. And maybe it's only in recent years that we've seen a real fluidity about gender roles coming in, which is where perhaps a bit of confusion comes in, particularly, I think, to men as to what exactly these days our role might be in certain situations. So, anyway, strength and courage, but we know women can be just as courageous as men. We've got examples of that in many ways, which we won't touch now. We'll be looking at feminine stuff next week. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's that. Men are thought to be independence, assertive independence, which I guess in some respects they can be. What about emotions? Now, this is quite an interesting one in terms of the male psyche. Would you say that men generally are able to talk about their emotions, their feelings?
I would say no.
Yeah, I think most men would agree with that.
Yeah.
That probably is the case. Do you feel you can express your feelings? Do you? Do you talk about how you feel, your emotions?
Only when I'm trying to garner sympathy. But otherwise, you want to appear, not macho. I think that's not the word, but you want to appear like somebody that can pick up one end of a couch.
Or one end of a piano or something.
One end of a piano, yeah. You don't want to,
Yeah,
yeah, because they want you to be like that. Even though they say, oh yeah, we want to see your feminine side, but they want you, if somebody, say for instance, you're in bed at night and somebody knocks, suddenly there's a knock on the door. They want somebody that would say, that would boldly go down. That wouldn't say, well, you go check.
but it doesn't mean to say that the man is any less apprehensive than the woman perhaps by his side, does it? I
No,
think
it
we
doesn't.
think of again we can think about what is courage. Men are thought to have strength and courage, and hopefully in most situations, I guess we would put ourselves forward. But I
Yeah.
think it's worth reminding ourselves that courage isn't a lack of fear, is it? It's actually
No.
feeling the fear, but doing it anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's anyway.
Yeah.
I think there's a book, about that. Feel the fear and do it anyway. That is
Yeah.
probably true courage. And yeah, there are examples of that, but there's lots of examples of women being brave as well. So yeah, we are thought to be that. But I think it's true to say, that for many boys, when we're young,
Yeah.
and maybe throughout the next years as well, males are encouraged to suppress their emotions,
Yeah.
particularly emotions to do with sadness or vulnerability. We mustn't. It's not good form to express vulnerability in ourselves.
Mm.
And I think the phrase, which often used to be heard, it possibly still is, but big boys don't cry. Now, in a way, that kind of encouragement, that kind of comment to young boys is a real disservice to them, because big boys damn well do cry. And yet you're being told at a young age, no, you boys don't cry. You're not to do that. Yeah, it's okay for girls to, but the boys can't. And as I say, I think it is a massive disservice, because what it means is that so many men, and as we've already said this, probably most men are not able, they don't really feel able to express their inner feelings. If they're Everybody has problems emotionally and otherwise, but if men by and large don't want to talk about them, and that also extends to our physical health. It's well known
Yeah.
statistically that a man will resist going to a doctor, even if we could see a doctor today, but that's another story, but
Yeah.
would resist contacting a doctor, because I don't know whether it's perhaps fear of what they might be told, or I don't know, it's expressing that vulnerability. Oh, I might be unwell.
Yeah.
So, that's another factor to this, that men don't like making a fuss. They'd rather push it away under a carpet. And one of the sad statistics of this is to do with suicide. Now,
Mm.
in our country, and I think the last figures for 2023, just 2 years ago,
Mm.
the average suicide rate in the UK was 11.2 people per 100,000 people, which is
Wow.
okay. Thankfully, it's a small number, but which is what you'd
Yeah.
expect. But actually, that 11.2 people hides the fact that in 2023, 17.6 men killed themselves, 17.6 per 100,000, as
Mm.
against 5.2 women. So there's a stark difference in that.
Yeah.
Although they're small figures, thank God, they're still radically different. And 17 per 100,000 is rather more than 5 per 100,000. And clearly, I'm not saying it's all down to an inability to seek help.